How's it going, everybody? I am the Texas Man. I hope you guys are all having a spectacular day. Please give this video a thumbs up if you guys really enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys have not already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all, hit the bell notification button so you guys don't miss out on future videos or live streams coming out here on my channel. Make sure you guys also go over to Twitch and follow me there at Douglas447. So we are continuing on with reading R.M.G. This is part 2. If you guys haven't read and watched part 1, make sure you guys do that because we are just continuing on. And let's continue reading. This is, of course, we're going to be starting off at chapter 5 called The Lost Boy. It was the detective from the hotel with a pistol in his hand. Laura lowered her guns and learned a lot of information. Laura, your husband boy has been buried and the ceremony is scheduled for tomorrow, said the detective. How did you find me here? Asked Laura. Simple. I was driving my van, which is parked outside, to return home, and suddenly I saw a semi-truck turn your rental car into a pancake, said the detective. I drove up and was forced to drive to this house by a man that had a gun at my head, said the detective, looking at James's body. I drove and parked in the driveway, and I was knocked out by him. Then I awoke to hear gunfire, so I raced inside, and here I am now, said the detective. What is your name? Asked Laura. My name to you, Laura, is Josh, said the detective. Laura told every single detail about what happened in the past 2 hours and made some tough decisions. Laura decided to try to adopt Thomas, an 8-year-old boy, with no true family alive, and together, Thomas, Laura, and Josh would travel to Gateway Island to see if the laptop, nicknamed Project Destruction, was at the place where James had made numerous calls to. The group piled into Josh's van and headed for the police headquarters in the city of Roe Village, Michigan, to adopt Thomas. Along the way, the group stopped at a gas station to refuel the van. Laura and Thomas walked inside of the shop to purchase something with a lot of caffeine, and Thomas agreed that he would enjoy Laura as his new mother. This is going to work, Billy. Just make sure you keep low on that island, and that when she locates the laptop, I'll kill her then. But until then, don't try to find it yourself. Laura's file says that she is a great puzzle solver, said Josh on his cell phone, fueling the van, placing a bomb hidden underneath. Chapter 6, Gateway Island. Let's move on. The police headquarters is not far away, said Josh. Josh was with Laura and the 8-year-old boy named Thomas. The three piled into Josh's van and continued towards the police headquarters, where Laura was going to adopt, or at least attempt to adopt, Thomas, because he had no more living family. The van arrived at police headquarters 20 minutes later and saw that someone was still indoors. I don't like this. Officers should not be working 2 hours after midnight, said Josh. Let's wait and see who is inside when they come out, said Laura. The group waited and waited for what seemed like a decade, but really it had only been 15 minutes. Look, someone is exiting the police headquarters building right now, said Laura. The group looked to see that it was a man dressed in a police uniform. Laura stepped out of the van and walked towards the officer. The officer turned around to see Laura walking towards him with a gloomy face. Are you okay? Asked the officer to Laura. Yes, my husband and 2 friends are dead. Plus I'm trying to adopt an 8-year-old boy with no family alive. So thanks for asking, said Laura. The officer then looked to see Josh and Thomas inside of the van, and then looked back at Laura. Come inside, with your friends, and I'll take care of this adoption for you in minutes, said the officer. Laura raced back to the van to inform her friends that it was safe to enter the building, and that Laura would legally become responsible for Thomas very soon. Don't be unaware of what someone may be or what they truly are, said Josh, exiting out of the van. Keep that in mind, that I need to be more cautious to those I speak to, since I'm on a murderer's list, said Laura. The time was now literally 3 hours past midnight, and the police officer brought the group inside of the police headquarters and saw that Josh was part of the group. The officer asked Laura for her name, driver's license, and evidence that Thomas had no legal living family. Then the officer requested Thomas to say out loud and on paper that he wanted to be under the responsibility of Laura and that he wasn't being pressured. Thomas, however, wasn't being forced into this adoption and wanted Laura to be his truly new mother. Well, Laura, everything seems to check out okay, but one thing remains, said the officer. What now, officer? It has been 2 hours since we walked in here, and Laura still hasn't adopted Thomas legally, said Josh. I'm sorry, sir, but I, Tom Baum, can't move any faster, said the officer. What is the last thing before I am legally responsible for Thomas? Asked Laura, changing the subject that way she could find the murderer on Gateway Island. I need you to write down on paper why you would want to adopt Thomas, said Tom. Tom handed Laura a clipboard with paper and a pen. Laura restlessly wrote down why she wanted to adopt Thomas. 20 minutes later, Laura handed Tom, the officer, the clipboard and the pen. I'll call the legal office and have your answer shortly, but in the meantime, please follow me to our lounge where the three of you can rest while you wait, said Tom. The group followed Tom and was asleep with pillows, blankets, and average-sized beds. Come with us to Gateway Island, Tom, said Josh. Why? I'm just trying to survive my underground work here, and if I move, someone will begin a search for me, said Tom. Once Laura locates the laptop and she's killed, nothing will hinder our operation, said Josh. I have a better idea, said Tom. Let's make a police car blow up with us inside. After Thomas belongs to Laura, said Tom. Then the bodies that look like us will be found, and we'll make it so that Laura will try harder to locate the laptop, said Josh, following Tom's thought. Or, when she enters the van, you'll just blow it up and kill her, said Tom. What about Thomas? Asked Josh. He has a minor issue in this. Doesn't matter what happens to an 8-year-old boy right now, said Tom, having no heart for human life. The time was now 8 a.m., and one day after John Strong was murdered. Tom informed Laura that she was legally over control of Thomas. Also, Tom told Laura that he and Josh were going to purchase some goods for breakfast. 20 minutes passed, and all of a sudden, kaboom! Laura drew her pistol and looked outside to see a police car blown up. Thomas saw the car destruction and realized what they were dealing with. Laura realized that other police and firemen would arrive soon and most likely stop her quest to Gateway Island. Laura took Thomas by the hand and placed him inside of the van's front seat. Then Laura looked inside of the burning police car to see that it was truly Officer Tom and Detective Josh that were killed. Laura got inside of the van and saw that Josh had left the keys in the ignition and looked to see a black car leaving the police headquarters. I bet you $2 trillion that those two in that car just killed our friends, and that maybe one of them is John's murderer, said Laura. Laura started the van's engine and began the race after the black car. Laura saw that they were headed for the dock to take a boat over to her destination, Gateway Island. I guess it is true that the terrorist hideout is somewhere on that island, said Laura. Laura saw that two people were inside talking quickly, and that it was probably that they knew she was following them. Look, Laura, big guns, said Thomas, pointing at the black car in front of them. Laura saw that the men, due to the muscle she saw, were wearing face masks and pointed machine guns at her and Thomas. Laura began to go back and forth on the highway to dodge the bullets. Thomas ducked his head and tried to place his body as low as possible, while Laura grabbed one of the several weapons in the back seat to return fire. Laura's choice was a shotgun. Bullets had destroyed the front window's glass of the van, causing Laura to have to watch her foot placement. Laura opened fire with her shotgun and blew out a back wheel. The dock required no toll to board the boat that was leaving in less than 2 minutes, and the two vehicles that were dueling each other out were seconds away from the dock's parking lot. Chapter 7. The Cliff's House. Eventually the black car broke down. The men inside dashed on the boat and were seen again on board, while Laura and Thomas searched together. Laura was able to hide a rifle, a machine gun, and a pistol with her while on the boat to Gateway Island. The group of only two departed from the boat 1 hour after boarding and realized that the reason that the terrorists were not able to locate Project Destruction was that the island was gigantic. This island consisted of 4 towns with 1,000 houses, 6 different grocery stores, 20 restaurants, and much more just in one town. Laura had no idea where the terrorist hideout could be located, and she had no idea where to start looking for the laptop. Laura and Thomas, in the town of Mishand, found a hotel, reserved a room, and began to look around for any clues of the terrorist hideout, or even Project Destruction. The time was about noon, and the group decided to break from their search. "Hey, Mother, can we go in there to eat?" asked Thomas, pointing at a busy bar. "No, Thomas, I can't afford that place, but we can eat anywhere else," said Laura. Thomas finally chose to eat at Taco Bell and agreed that he would like one of everything on the Why Pay More menu. But Laura knew that Thomas could not eat 25 items, so she ordered 4 items instead. After eating lunch, Laura decided to visit the police headquarters to inform them all of the current danger that was living on the island, which was a number of terrorists. Once Laura and Thomas arrived at the police headquarters, the story was told. The 20 officers were puzzled at her report, but knew that the docks didn't have great security, which could have led the terrorists to use the island as a hideout. The police said thanks to Laura for the information, and they told her that they would work on the case, but knew that to release all this information to the public would increase the chances of Laura and Thomas being killed. The time was now nearly 3 hours past noon, and Laura decided to take Thomas to her hotel room, and afterwards walk into the bar to listen to the drunk men to find a clue or tip to the terrorist hideout and possibly Project Destruction. Oh, uh-oh, where's... The time was now 6 in the afternoon, and Laura had just arrived at the bar's parking lot in what was now her van, since Josh was dead. Laura entered the bar and ordered a hot dog and a medium-sized cup of Mountain Dew, and listened carefully for clues to help solve this case. "It is time we find her before something terrible happens," said a man, chewing down on a cheeseburger and talking to himself. "Sir, I cannot help but overhear your conversation," said Laura, transferring her food to the table where the man was sitting. "What is a young and beautiful lady doing on this run-down island like you?" asked the man. "My name is Strong. Laura Strong," said Laura. "Listen carefully, Laura. I was talking about you," said the man. "Who are you?" "My name's Billy, and I'm an old friend of Thomas's deceased parents," said the man. "Are you going to help me?" asked Laura. "Yes, I'll help you, and I know the location of the laptop, or what you keep calling Project Destruction," said Billy. "Where is it?" asked Laura. "Meet me at this bar's parking lot at 4 in the afternoon tomorrow, and I'll show you," said Billy. "Why not now?" asked Laura. "The terrorists are watching us right now," said Billy. Laura left the bar and returned to the hotel room where Thomas was sleeping. "I know that the plan isn't going to help us, Billy," said one of the 2 men sitting down with Billy at the bar. "Listen, once Laura is killed, Project Destruction will no longer be a problem for us," said Billy. Fool! If I wanted Laura dead, I would have done it yesterday. But I decided not to because I plan to use Project Destruction to launch the nuclear missiles on American targets, said the same man. Again, but not Billy. Sorry, King and Tom, said Billy. But remember that King was using the name Josh as a cover-up. It was now 8 past midnight, and Laura had received a message from the town's police that they had good evidence of the location of the laptop. Laura and Thomas left the hotel in Mishand and began the extremely short drive to the town of Candy Lane. Candy Lane was the largest of all of the 4 towns on the island, and was only 20 minutes away from the town of Mishand. Soon after, Laura and Thomas arrived at the scene where the police believe Project Destruction was located, and police were surrounding a house on a cliff. "What's the situation here, officer?" asked Laura to one of the police officers. "We received numerous tips that terrorists have been living here, and we thought it was time to find out if the people have been telling the truth," said the officer. "How long has it been reported that terrorists have been living here?" asked Laura. "Well, since you came to us yesterday. It's almost like you spooked them to reveal themselves," said the officer. Laura looked to see a team of police officers enter the house at many angles with machine guns, grenades, and smoke grenades. Within 3 minutes, not one shot had been fired. Another 2 minutes passed, but instead of shots being fired, one of the officers came out of the house with a laptop. "I found it," said the officer. Kaboom! The crowd of officers, firemen, and citizens ducked for cover. Once the smoke cleared, the crowd, including Laura and Thomas, saw the house in total ruins. Firemen moved to put out the remaining fires, and one of them retrieved the laptop and gave it to Laura. "Well, it would seem that the terrorists failed," said Laura. "Laura, we just learned that the owner of the house was your aunt, and she was given the laptop by your husband. Also, it would appear that she had wired the house to explode to damage it enough so no terrorist could interrogate her," said the officer. Laura looked at the laptop and realized that the terrorists had lost, but she still planned to kill them. "Sir, she has it, and is entering the van," said Tom, in a car near the cliff house, to King, the terrorist boss, on his cell phone. "Great. Now move in to take the laptop from her, and then allow her to enter the van so I can press the button to activate the bomb that is hidden underneath the van," said King on his cell phone at the terrorist base. Tom stepped out of his car and greeted Laura, placing Thomas in the van. "Tom, but I saw you and Josh, aka King. I saw your guys' bodies burning in the police car on the mainland," said Laura. "I'm sorry that we left you, but we had to fake our death to keep the terrorists focused on you while we found the actual terrorist base," said Tom. Chapter 8. The Decision. "You found the terrorist base?" asked Laura. "Yes. It is in the town of Mishand, and the man that you met at the bar helped us, and we will be meeting him to help us take them down," said Tom. "So the meeting time at 4 in the afternoon was to meet you guys and defeat the terrorists," said Laura. Yes, said Tom. Laura was overjoyed to know her revenge was coming. Laura told Tom she found Project Destruction, but that it had been... Laura was overjoyed to know her revenge was coming. Laura told Tom she found Project Destruction, but that it was a fried hamburger due to the explosion. Tom comforted her, informing Laura that Josh would repair the laptop, and that he was sorry for the death of Laura's aunt. "Hey, my name is Officer Jack, and I couldn't Hey, my name is Officer Jack, and I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. I wanted to know if my men can assist you," said Officer Jack to Laura. "Great! We can have the police force from Candy Lane and Mishand," said Laura. Tom attempted to take the laptop away from Laura, but was unsuccessful in his mission. Tom even pressured Laura to enter the van, but Laura informed him that she had no breaker fluid. "It's not a great idea to drive without proper brakes," said Officer Jack. "Can Thomas and I come into your police car?" said Laura. Jack agreed with Laura's request, knowing she didn't want to waste time on having her revenge. Jack called the Miss Hand police force to meet Candy Lane's police force at the terrace base, which was just another run-down house. "The police are coming, along with Laura, Thomas, and Officer Jack of Candy Lane's police force. Plus me," said Tom, in his car on his cell phone, driving behind the police car that Laura was inside of. "This makes problems worse," said King, on the other line. "What do you want me to do, since we can't blow up the van without her inside of it?" asked Tom. "Allow Laura, Thomas, and yourself to enter our base. Then I'll take care of it," said King. "What about Jack and the police force outside?" asked Tom. I have a plan to deal with them," said King. Time passed rapidly, and soon the police were surrounding the house where the terrorists were hiding. A voice was heard, and Laura turned to see Billy, the tipster at the bar, and Josh, a detective, which was actually King. "Let us five enter only, and we'll come back out to tell you what we saw," said King, speaking for Laura, Thomas, Billy, Tom, and himself. "Okay, but you have 5 minutes," said Jack. The group of 5 armed humans smashed the front door down and entered. The main floor of the house was covered in spider webs, and large piles of dust were lying in every corner of every room. The group moved on to the second floor and found nothing there. The last place to look was in the basement of the house. The disguised terrorists, Billy, Josh, and Tom, allowed Laura to walk down the basement stairs first, with Thomas behind her. Billy slammed the basement door and shut. Sorry, try that again. Billy slammed the basement door shut and bolted it. Laura turned around to see her 3 male friends pointing their machine guns and pistols at her and Thomas. "What are you guys doing?" asked Thomas. "There were no terrorists in this house, or even a terrorist base," said Laura. "Correct," said Josh. "So which one of you is the leader or commander of this little party?" asked Laura. "I am," said Josh. "You, Josh? Your real name is King?" said Laura. King told Laura yes, and the following things. King sent James in the semi-truck to kill her. He was the driver of the car James stepped out of at Thomas's parents' house, and he was never knocked out by James. He faked his death, along with Thomas's, at the police headquarters on the mainland. He even killed John and the other 2 researchers working on Project Destruction. Lastly, he even placed a bomb underneath the van to kill Laura when she took it from her aunt's house. Why could you not break into my aunt's house and take it?" asked Laura. "She had a gun with her all the time, and she kept the laptop in a secure location. Plus the only way we knew she had it was when John gave it to her right before your wedding," said John. "What do you want?" asked Laura. "Give me the laptop, and you both can leave," said King. Laura knew that they were going to kill her for the computer chip in her left hand, even if she did give her the laptop. Laura slid the laptop across the floor to land by King's feet. King slowly kneeled down to pick the laptop up, and then suddenly Laura blasted Billy and Tom in the head, and King in the arms and legs. Laura checked to make sure Billy and Tom were dead, and they both were. "I have done plenty of killing today, and I'm going to offer you grace, in which I'm going to spare your life. In return, you'll see your friends destroyed to complete my revenge," said Laura. Laura unbolted the basement door, and Thomas was taken with her to the main floor of the house. Laura, unaware of what King's condition was, opened the front door to be greeted by Officer Jack. "Duck!" yelled a voice. Laura, Thomas, and Jack ducked behind a cabinet of books. Kabang! Kabang! Bang! Laura, Thomas, and Jack looked around to see King's body collapse to the ground. It isn't over yet, said King. But it is, said a man with a small group of people behind him. Kabang! The man shot John in the head. Laura looked as the group of 4 people took off their masks to reveal themselves. It was Laura's aunt, the 2 researchers for Project Destruction, and what shocked Laura and caused her to begin to cry was that the man that shot King 4 times was her husband, John. Laura was overjoyed to see her husband, but puzzled that these 4 people were alive. King killed you 2 researchers. Aunt Mary blew herself up in her house, and John was shot by King, and your funeral service was yesterday. How are you guys alive? Asked Laura. Simple. My 2 researchers faked their deaths by replacing their bodies with stuffed, faked human bodies. Aunt Mary escorted the police out of her house and tossed the uniforms in the explosion. And when I was shot, I had a bulletproof vest on, said John. So for the last few days, I have been seeking revenge on men that aren't murderers? Asked Laura. No, we faked our deaths, so our fake story of a nuclear project being done with all of its information on a laptop and you having a computer chip being in your left hand could lead us in destroying this terrorist operation, said John. What operation? Asked Laura. The operation of certain men creating an atom bomb in America to eventually take out the current president, said John. At last, all of the puzzle pieces had come together, and the quest for Laura's revenge had come to an end. Although Project Destruction and the chip in Laura's hand never existed, John had to tell his wife that he wasn't working for ENCOM, but that he too was an agent working for the president. Aunt Mary died of brain cancer 1 year later after this amazing day. Officer Jack continued to be a cop until he married and found a job on the mainland to spend more time with his family. John and Laura kept Thomas as their 8-year-old boy, and at the age of 13, Thomas had a younger brother named Patrick. And so, John and Laura lived happily ever after until 9:57 p.m. in 2062. The end. Now, in case you guys are wondering, 9:57 p.m. and the year 2062, those are really important because they will be used in my Major Chronicles of Unit 4 book series. So that is it, guys. We have officially finished reading all of R.M.G. So this is, of course, part 2. The next video that I will be doing is going to be starting up reading through the book of Stacy. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys all have a great day.